term toxic masculinity, it just kind of gets thrown around right
Yeah.
now. I think that there is, I don't even like to call it masculinity that's bad. I think there's bad people that do bad things, but I think that the design seems to be they want to make the masculine so gross
You want to demonize it.
that they, bring
I don't
people.
believe toxic masculinity is a thing, to be honest. I think the absence of masculinity is what is toxic because I think the more masculine a person is, the more he wants to protect his wife, the more he wants to love his kids, the more he wants to provide resources for them. I think more masculinity means more love, provisioning, and protection and guidance. I think the absence is where you have these like pseudo little beta males who compensate by doing destructive things because that's how they compensate. So I don't even believe that term. I think that's just the way they stigmatize people. Um, and actually, it's funny because often when people project these terms onto the world, that's what they are. So when they're
Mhm.
saying we live under a patriarchy, I'm like, bitch, I argue we live under a matriarchy personally, you know? And I think this is all projection. And we live in a cult of feminism today. I believe that the West lives under that cult. And let me make this very clear because I know a lot of your audience is probably like, who is this Asian guy who sounds sexist now? I'm totally an egalitarian. Women should have the right to do whatever they want to do. But my point is that the archetypal spirit we live under, in other words, like you said, everyone repeats about the patriarchy and toxic masculinity, right? And it's because they understand there's the archetype of the wise king, but the contrast is the archetype of the high chair tyrant. You know, like the drunken abusive dad,
Mhm.
the negative manifestation of masculinity. But nobody talks about the negative feminine, which is the overprotective mother. And that is the spirit we've been living under. Because, for example, the medical apartheid we just went through with the vaccine mandates and the mask requirements, that's all the overprotective mother.
Mm.
Because an evil force that's saying, I'm doing this because mommy loves you. It's for your protection. It's for your good. Stay inside. Don't have fun. It's
Yeah.
because we love you. And then I'm going to bring in state power for your protection.
Yeah.
That is the spirit of the overprotective mother. And that is why uh, I believe our world is very gynocentric right now, especially the West. So all we like to do in a dominant way, we're allowed to casually lambast masculinity and fathers and talk denigrate them all day. And the reason why we can even do that is because we live in a feminized world. Because the moment I say one negative thing about the collective feminine psyche, what happens? Everyone attacks you.
Of course. Of
You
course.
know?
Yeah, it triggers the mob.
Yeah,
Uh,
100%.
it's interesting what's going on with feminism right now. I just ordered uh, a bunch of books on queer theory and feminism just because I want to really understand where we're at in society right now, or at least their way of thinking. How are they thinking about this? And I guess we're in the fourth wave of feminism,
Mm,
and it's based off of queer theory. And so it actually, to me, people think of feminism and women's rights,
yeah.
although it's
We're way past that.
it's supposed to be about equality.
Yeah,
But to me, modern feminism takes away the rights of women
they do.
because you talk about like men dominating women. If they were really concerned with men dominating women, why would they have biological men going in competing in women's sports or having biological men going and being in office and that identify as women? By the way, biological men that identify as women going and competing in sports. Uh, it's just men dominating women. If that's
Yeah.
it, and it's weak men because those men can't compete in general on the level that other men can. I mean, they got Bruce Jenner, which is a lot to unpack.
Caitlyn, by the
Yeah,
way.
Caitlyn Jenner, sorry. But they got Bruce to become Caitlyn. And there's obviously some stuff going on.
Yeah, the woman of the year is a man,
That's my point.
you
Men
know?
men really are the best women. I mean, that just proves.
And also like I think the most important factor of what you're saying is that like they make women who want to be caretakers and mothers feel like losers because they say no, you're supposed to kick those men's asses. And the my problem with this whole gender craze is that like the feminists are getting equality and identicality confused. Like they don't understand. Like back then, women understood like we can be complementary, but today they're literally trying to get rid of men almost. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we're way beyond the egalitarian feminist conversation because also women are kicking all their asses when it comes to college representation, income for people, for men in the 20s versus women in the 20s. Men are getting their asses kicked.
Well,
we're not in a good place.
I'm all for equal opportunity.
Yeah,
I really
me too.
am. I mean, I'm all for women getting the pay.
Yeah,
the
no one's
same
arguing
as
that.
men the same time. I know.
Yeah,
but my point is, I'm for those things. But and that's what I think a lot of the people think that this is about. Like, oh, women aren't paid equally. It's like actually, that's been debunked many times. In those studies, they're not working as much. There's a lot of things that come into play there. But yeah, in their 20s right now, women are making more money than men. And guess what? If they're working harder, by the way, I'm all for it. If they're the best person for the job, they should be making more money.